Many modern Photoshop workflows involve smart objects. But what are smart objects? I'm your professor, Marty Pfeiffer. Let's take a brief detour into physics. In 1905, Albert Einstein published four important papers, the last of which explored the idea of mass-energy equivalence. You've probably heard E equals mc squared, where E is energy, m is matter, and c is the speed of light in a vacuum. In chemical or nuclear reactions, mass and energy cannot be created or destroyed. They can only be changed from one state to another. In contrast to this, in image editing, pixels can be created and destroyed. Resizing a pixel-based object down is usually not a problem. It's just a smaller version of itself afterwards. However, when resizing up, Photoshop must invent new pixels. These new pixels can look fake or blurry depending on how far you're asking Photoshop to enlarge. The process is called resampling. Resampling permanently creates or destroys pixels. And any time you scale or even rotate a pixel-based object, you are getting a new set of pixels at the end. This has been a gotcha for a long time when using Photoshop and other pixel editors, so it's no wonder that Adobe would try to find a solution. And in 2005, they did. It's called Smart Objects. Smart Objects can be resized without affecting the pixel content. On Canvas, download the Mario Resize PSD file and open it in Photoshop. Here are some handy keyboard shortcuts for this activity. New Layer from Selection takes whatever you have and jumps it to a new layer. So, Command or Control J for jump. That's how I remember it. T is for transform, is also easier to remember. And if you have the Move tool selected, you don't even have to use a keyboard shortcut to access Free Transform. It's offered as part of how this tool works. Here's a big Mario chilling out in the Mushroom Kingdom. Press Ctrl or Command 0 to fill the document window. Since we want to make copies and move him around, choose the Move tool from the toolbar. Next, select him by clicking on his thumbnail in the Layers panel. The layer is helpfully named Mario. Press Command or Control J to jump him to a new layer. Even though it looks like nothing's happened, you'll see that in the Layers panel there is a new layer named Mario Copy on top of the Mario layer. So now there are two Marios. In the document window, drag Mario to the center of the screen. You'll notice a box with 8 small squares around him. If you don't see that, make sure Show Transform Controls is checked on the options bar. Drag from any of the small squares to resize Mario to fit within the first outline at the top. Reposition Mario by dragging from anywhere else inside the box. Photoshop tries to align objects with other objects. Occasionally, this behavior makes it harder to position objects precisely. You could turn off this by going to the View menu and unchecking Snap. Once he's in position and resized, you can either click the checkbox in the options bar or press Enter or Return to finalize the transformation. Now, let's jump that Mario to a new layer. Command or Control J. Now there are 3 Marios. If you hover your mouse over the big Mario, you'll notice that he gets highlighted in the Layers panel in a slightly different shade of blue. This indicates which Mario is being targeted with the Move tool, regardless of the layer selected in the Layers panel. This can be beneficial for quick edits, but it can be challenging to target the correct object, especially when 2 objects overlap. I recommend turning off this functionality by unchecking Auto Select Layer on the options bar. Drag Mario Copy 2 down, then resize him to fit within the smaller outline. Press Enter or Return to finalize the transformation. Then jump him to a new layer to make Mario Copy 3. This time, we need to rotate Mario to fit him into the outline. Instead of dragging from any of the small boxes, go a little outside one of them. When you see the outward pointing arrows change from a straight line to a corner, the Move tool will rotate the image rather than resize it. Click and drag to rotate. Once he's oriented correctly, make him a bit bigger to fit in the bottom box. Press Enter or Return. Now we need to jump Mario to a new layer one last time. We need him to stand up and eat the Mega Mushroom so he can be super huge again. Once again, jump him to a new layer and then rotate and enlarge him to fit in the final outline. And once you press Enter, you can see a slight problem. The Mario on the right looks decidedly worse for wear than the Mario on the left. His pixels have been shrunk, rotated, and enlarged only a few times, but those actions have certainly left their mark. We're left with a blurry Mario, and he cares what you think. Feeling a little stressed out, perhaps? We only need to add one step to help Mario stay pixel perfect in his adventures. Convert him into a smart object. We'll use the Layer Panel's hamburger menu to access this command. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days. A quick way to do that is to revert the file to its original state. Go to the File menu and choose Revert. Let's try this again, but we'll change one thing. With the Mario layer selected, go to the hamburger menu and choose Convert to Smart Object. Nothing appears to have changed in the document window, but if you look closely in the Layers panel, Mario now has a little badge in the corner to signify his upgraded status. Okay, now let's speed run through the resizing and rotating. Normal Mario. Small Mario. Normal, but lying down Mario. And finally, let's feed Mario the Mega Mushroom so he can be giant again. Notice what happens when I start to rotate him back. The box around him changes. It shows the rotation of this layer relative to its initial position at the beginning of this adventure. And if you look at the options bar, you'll see a rotation angle we can type in. We'll just set that to 0 degrees, then go on to the left and then change the width back to 100%. Press Enter or Return to commit the transformation and move Mario into the final outline. You can see that both Marios are identical. They're both brilliant, vibrant, and not blurry. And they're both ready to protect the Mushroom Kingdom.